Have you ever asked yourself, why is it that right before the breakthrough, everything falls apart? The silence gets louder, the people vanish, the pain multiplies. You're praying more than ever, you're seeking, crying, believing, but the heavens are quiet. And you start to wonder, did I miss something? Is God still with me? But what if what you're going through right now isn't punishment? What if it's preparation? Because there's a spiritual principle in Scripture that every true believer has to learn. Before the promotion, there is always a test. Before the crown, there is always a cross.
There's something no one tells you, but every real Christian eventually lives it. Before your greatest breakthrough comes your greatest breaking. God doesn't promote without proving. He doesn't trust glory to untested hearts. Look at Joseph. Before the palace, a pit. Before the crown, a prison. Before honor, betrayal. You keep asking God to elevate you, but can He trust you first? Can you stay faithful when it's quiet? Can you keep walking when nothing makes sense? Psalm 105:19. Until the time came to fulfill his dreams, the Lord tested Joseph's character. And maybe that's what He's doing with you right now, testing what's inside before releasing what's ahead. Because He loves you too much to give you a victory that your character can't carry. You've been praying, fasting, crying out, but heaven feels silent, and that silence is terrifying. It makes you question everything, your prayers, your purpose, your place in God's plan. But listen closely. Silence is not absence. Silence is strategy, because in every test, the teacher is silent. God's not ignoring you. He's watching you. He's measuring your faith, not by how loud you shout, but by how long you trust when He's quiet. Psalm 13:1, How long, O Lord, will you forget me forever? David asked that while waiting for a throne, and maybe you're asking it too. But the silence isn't rejection, it's refinement. It's the space where trust is forged. And if you can survive the silence, you'll hear Him speak again with fire. You've noticed it. People are pulling away. Friends you trusted, gone. Support you counted on, vanished. And it hurts. You thought they'd be there, but now it's just silence. But what if God allowed it? What if the isolation is intentional? Because not everyone who walks with you through the process is meant to stand with you in the promise. Joseph's brothers betrayed him. They couldn't handle his dream, so God let the rejection happen to position him for destiny. Genesis 50:20. You meant it for evil, but God meant it for good. What feels like abandonment might be divine protection. God is removing voices of doubt, voices of distraction, voices that can't go where you're going. You're not being punished, you're being purified. The closer you get to the promise, the harder the pressure gets. Suddenly the attacks intensify, the fear gets louder, the temptation gets stronger. And you start thinking, if this was from God, why is it so hard? Because pressure is proof of proximity. When hell senses heaven moving, it panics. Look at Moses. The moment he stepped into purpose, Pharaoh increased the workload. Exodus 5:9, make the work harder so they won't listen to lies. The enemy always attacks hardest right before the chains break. That's why your mind is under siege. That's why your emotions feel unstable. That's why your body is tired all the time. The pressure isn't a sign you're failing. It's a sign you're almost there. Don't tap out. Don't turn back. Don't give hell the satisfaction. If the battle is heating up, it's because heaven already wrote your victory. When the process gets painful, the past starts looking attractive. You begin to miss what God already delivered you from. The comfort, the ease, the control. Just like Israel in the desert, God was taking them to the promised land. But when hunger hit, they said, we should have stayed in Egypt.
Exodus 16:3, we sat around pots of meat and ate all the food we wanted. They forgot the chains, forgot the cruelty, forgot the prayers they cried for freedom. And that's what the enemy wants, to make you long for your bondage, to make you question if holiness is worth the cost. He'll whisper, you were happier before, life was easier before, at least you weren't in pain. But Egypt feeds the flesh and kills the spirit. Don't go back. Don't romanticize your slavery. You're closer to Canaan than you think. And every step forward, even in the pain, is a punch to hell's mouth.
Before the promise comes the altar. Before the reward comes the surrender. Genesis 22, verse 2. Take your son, your only son, whom you love, and sacrifice him. God asked Abraham for the one thing he loved most, not to torture him, but to test him, to see if the promise had become an idol. What if God is asking you for something painful? A relationship, a habit, a plan. Not because he wants to hurt you, but because he wants to own you. He won't bless what he doesn't have control of. And sometimes the price of destiny is everything. The question is, can you lay it down before you pick up the victory? Most people want resurrection, but no one wants crucifixion. If it hurts, you're close. If he's asking, say yes, because the altar is where legacy begins.
Something happens when you finally say yes. Not with your mouth, with your life. When you lay it down, when you surrender the dream, when you stop fighting God's process, that's when the shift begins. Abraham raised the knife, and God stopped him, because it was never about Isaac, it was about obedience. Genesis 22:12, now I know that you fear God. God waits for that moment, when your actions confirm your heart. After obedience, the heavens respond. After obedience, the angels move. After obedience, the ram appears. You've been asking for the promise, but God's been waiting for obedience. You don't need more signs, you need more surrender. Because the second you give him what he asked for, he gives you more than you imagined. The shift doesn't come after comfort, it comes after the sacrifice.
You thought the pain was pointless, the betrayal, the silence, the loss. But what if none of it was random? What if the pain was preparation? God doesn't waste suffering. He recycles it. He uses it to shape what comfort never could. Look at Joseph. Every cut pushed him closer to the crown. Every betrayal positioned him for the throne. Genesis 50:20. What you meant for evil, God meant for good. The reveal comes after the wound. The meaning comes after the mess. You didn't cry for nothing. You didn't wait for nothing. You didn't break for nothing. That pain was a prophecy in disguise, a holy setup, a sacred tension. And now that you're still standing, now that you didn't quit, God's about to show you why it had to hurt that deep. The pain was always part of the plan, but so was the glory that's coming next. God doesn't forget. Not your prayers, not your tears, not your obedience in the dark. Every step you took in silence, he recorded. Every sacrifice you made in secret, he saw. Numbers 23:19. God is not a man that he should lie. If he spoke it, he will do it. Maybe not how you expected, maybe not when you expected, but he always delivers. The delay wasn't a denial. It was divine timing. The detour wasn't punishment. It was protection. He didn't change his mind. You're still called, still chosen, still marked for more. The promise didn't die. It's been maturing. And now that you've been through the process, now that your heart is his, the promise is coming, and it won't be small, because the pain was never small. He keeps his word, every time. Even if you stopped believing, he never stopped planning.
You think nothing's happening, but look again. The pressure increased. The silence deepened. The warfare got heavier. Those aren't signs you're far from breakthrough. They're proof you're on the edge of it. The enemy doesn't attack what isn't threatening. He attacks what's dangerous. And you, surrendered and refined, are dangerous. You're more of a threat now than you've ever been, because you didn't quit, because you still worship, because you still believe, even when it hurts. Isaiah 66:9, "Shall I bring to the point of birth and not cause to deliver?" You've been in labor. The pain is contraction. The silence is tension. The isolation is focus. These aren't signs of death. They're signs of delivery. You're not being buried, you're being planted. And what's about to break forth will silence every doubt you had. The proof is in the pressure, because pressure precedes power.
This is the turning point. Right here, right now. After all the pain, after all the silence, after all the tears, you have two choices: hold on or walk away. And hell is hoping you'll let go, because it knows you're inches from what you've been praying for. Don't you dare quit now. Don't let your past define your next. Don't let temporary pain kill eternal purpose. Hebrews 10:35-36. Do not throw away your confidence. You need to persevere. God is watching, not to punish, but to reward. He's waiting to crown you, but he won't crown what didn't endure. Push, press, pray one more time. You're not finished. You're just at the hardest part. And that's exactly where most people give up. But you're not most people.
Before you see it, you have to say it. Faith speaks even when sight is silent, even when nothing looks different. Ezekiel stood in a valley of dry bones, and God told him to prophesy. Not after they moved, not after they rattled, but while they were still dead. What are you saying right now? Over your future, over your faith, over your situation. Proverbs 18:21 says, "The tongue has the power of life and death." Speak life, even while you're bleeding, even while you're waiting. Say, "I won't quit. I still believe. I'm coming out of this." Because when you speak with faith, you give permission for heaven to move. Don't let fear be your language. Let fire be your language. The breakthrough may not be visible, but it's listening. So open your mouth and prophesy like it's already done.
Victory isn't just about arrival. It's about alignment. If your heart's not ready, the blessing will feel like a burden. That's why God slowed you down, why he let it hurt, why he stripped away the noise. He wasn't punishing you, he was positioning you, because your next season requires a new posture, a deeper humility, a quieter strength, a firmer faith. Psalm 139:23-24. Search me, O God, see if there is any offensive way in me. This is the moment to surrender again, to check your motives, to release the idols. Don't let pride kill your promotion. Don't let bitterness block your blessing. Get in position, get in prayer, get in alignment, because what's coming next won't wait for a distracted heart. And if you're aligned, you won't just receive it, you'll sustain it. Don't scroll past this. Don't treat this like another video. This was a word for you. Not just to feel, but to act. Go now, shut the door, get on your face before God, pray, "Lord, I don't understand everything, but I trust you. I won't give up before my breakthrough." And if this hit your spirit, comment right now, "I won't quit before my victory." Write it, declare it, make it public. Let heaven and hell see your decision. Share this with someone who's on the edge, someone who needs to hear it's not over, they're not done. And don't stop here. The next video is already prepared. God is still speaking. Don't miss the next revelation. It's not just content, it's a continuation. You were born to endure, born to carry glory, born to see the promise. And this was just the beginning.